Okay, good afternoon. Today we'll be talking about permutation and combination. So we are going to start from permutation. So we are starting from permutation. So permutation is simply defined. Permutation is simply defined as arrangement of objects. The number of ways of arranging or permuting arrow objects from a total of n objects is given as n permutation arrow equals to n factorial over n minus arrow factorial. So this is the formula of a permutation. N permutation arrow equal to n factorial over n minus arrow factorial. So we're going to take example 1 on the formula of permutation. So example 1, evaluate the following. Evaluate the following. A, 5 permutation 3, 3 permutation 3, 4 permutation 1, then D, 3 permutation 0. So let's take solutions on the following. Let's take solutions. A, 5 permutation 3. So following the formula, n permutation arrow equals to n minus n factorial over n minus 1 factorial. So 5 permutation 3 is equal to 5 factorial over 5 minus 3 factorial. So if we have this 5 factorial over 5 minus 3 factorial, it will give us 5 factorial over 2 factorial. Now, if we have 5 factorial over 2 factorial, it means we should multiply 5 to 1 and multiply 2 to 1. So 5 factorial is simply 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 over 2 times 1. So we cancel, 2 cancel 2. So we are left with 5 times 4 times 3. So which is 120. 5 times 4 is 20. 20 times 3 is 60. So the answer will be 60. But we have shorter way to do this. We can just say or 5 factorial over 2 factorial equals to, we are going to leave the smaller one and expand the bigger one. So here will give us, we are going to multiply the bigger one to the smaller one. So here will give us 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 factorial over 2 factorial. So 2 factorial will cancel 2 factorial. Here will give us 5 times 4 times 3, which is 60. This is the other way to solve it. If you don't want to multiply the 5 to 1 and multiply the 2 to 1. So you can just take the bigger one until you get to the smaller one. You put factorial, so the 2 will cancel out. So you multiply what is left to have your answer. So let's look at B. B. Question B said that we should look for B. 3 permutation 3. 3 permutation 3. So this is 3 factorial over 3 minus 3 factorial, which is equals to 3 factorial over 0 factorial. Please take note, 0 factorial is equals to 1. 0 factorial is 1. So here is 3 times 2 times 1 over 1. 0 factorial is equal to 1. So 1 cancel 1. So we are left with 3 times 2, which is equals to 6. So it means 3 permutation 3 is equals to 6. So C, we have 4 permutation 1. 4 permutation 1. So this is 4 factorial over 4 minus 1 factorial. So which is 4 factorial over 4 minus 1 will give us 3 factorial. So we have 2 ways to do it. We can multiply the 4 to 1 and multiply the 3 to 1. That is the first way. Or we can just multiply the 4 until it gets to 3. Then we put the factorial. So let's try the first way. This is 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 over 3 times 2 times 1. So this cancel this. So the answer will be 4. Or the other way will be 4 factorial over 3 factorial. It's just 4 times 3 factorial over 3 factorial. This is the shorter way. So 3 factorial cancel 3 factorial. So the answer becomes 4. The answer becomes 4. So that is so that. Then D, question D, we have 3 permutation 0. 3 permutation 0. Now this is 3 factorial over 3 minus 0 factorial. So this is 3 factorial over 3 factorial. So 3 factorial over 3 factorial, we can only cancel factorials when they are the same. We can only cancel factorials when they are the same. For instance, 2 factorial over 2 factorial is 1. But if they are not the same factorial, please don't cancel them. If we have 4 factorial over 2 factorial, please don't say it is 2 factorial. It's not done anyway. So if we have 4 factorial over 2 factorial, the 2 factorial cannot cancel the 4 factorial. The only thing we can do here is to multiply 4 until we get to 2 factorial. That is 4 times 3 times 2 factorial over 2 factorial. That is the only way you can do it. Or you multiply 4 to 1, multiply 2 to 1, then cancel. But factorial should not cancel factorial when the two numbers are not the same. Please, it should be noted. The reason why I can cancel this, 3 factorial over 3 factorial, because they are the same number. That is why I can cancel it. So my answer is 1. So it shows that 3 permutation 0 is equals to 1. In general, n permutation n equals to 1. N permutation n. So in general, n permutation 0 is equals to 1. N permutation 0 is equals to 1. Then n permutation 1 is equals to n. N permutation 0 is equals to 1. It means that any number permutation 0, the answer must be 1. 3 permutation 0, 1. 5 permutation 0, 1. Then any number permutation 1 is equals to that number. Please take note of this. This is a general law in permutation. N permutation 0 equals to 1. It means if we have 5 permutation 0 equals to 1, 4 permutation 0 equals to 1, etc. Then, if we have 5 permutation 1 equals to 5, 4 permutation 1 equals to 4, etc. So this is a general law in permutation. Anything permutation 0 is 1, while anything permutation 1 equals to that number. So these are the examples. So we are going to look at some further examples. Example 2. Example 2. Now, A, say that if n permutation 1 equals to, if n permutation 1 equals to 3, find n. If n permutation 1 equals to 3, find n. Then B, if n permutation 2, if n permutation 2 equals to if n permutation 2 equal to 3, find n. So let's take solutions. A, n permutation 1 equals to 3. So what are we going to do? N permutation 1 is n factorial over n minus 1 factorial equals to 3. So it means that n factorial is bigger than n minus 1 factorial. So we are going to expand until we get to this. So n factorial is same thing as n into n minus 1 factorial over n minus 1 factorial equals to 3. So n minus 1 factorial will cancel n minus 1 factorial. So n is equals to 3. Then B, n permutation 2 equals to 3. So this is n factorial n minus 2 factorial equals to 3. So we are going to expand n factorial until we get to n minus 2 factorial. So this is now n into n minus 1 into n minus 2 factorial. So you start from the first number, n into n minus 1 into n minus 2 factorial over n minus 2 factorial equals to 3. So this will cancel this. So we are left with n into n minus 1 equals to 3. So if we open the brackets, here is n squared minus n equal to 3. So take this one to this side. So it becomes n squared minus n minus 3 equals to 0. Okay, let's say equals to 6. Let's put 6, so that we have correct n equals to 6. So here will be 0. Here will be 0. Here will be 0. Good. So this is a quadratic equation. N squared minus n minus 6 equals to 0. So we are going to use factorization method. This one brings us to factorization method. Factorization method. First of all, we use the minus 6 to times n. It will give us minus 6n squared. So we are going to think of two numbers in which if they are multiplied, if the two numbers are multiplied, we are going to have minus 6. But if they are added, we are going to have minus 1, because this is minus 1n. So which two numbers are we going to multiply to have minus 6? Then when we add them, we have minus 1. So if we try plus 2 and minus 3, plus 2 times minus 3 will give us minus 6, while plus 2 minus 3 will give us minus 1. So the two numbers will be plus 2 and minus 3. So here will become n squared plus 2n minus 3n minus 6 equals to 0. So we are going to factorize, taking the first 2 into their brackets. So here it becomes n into n plus 2. N is common for n squared and 2n. N is common. Then minus 3, open bracket, n plus 2. When you are factorizing quadratic equation, your first bracket must be equal to the second bracket. So everything equals to 0. So we take one of the brackets and take the other one. N plus 2 bracket n minus 3 equals to 0. So here it becomes n plus 2 equals to 0 or n minus 3 equals to 0. Collect like terms, n equals to 0 minus 2 or n equals to 0 plus 3. So n equals to minus 2 or 3. But we are going to take the positive value because n cannot be negative. In permutation, we don't have negative values. So therefore, the value of n is equals to 3. So this is the answer, the positive answer. That is the value of n. So let's take other examples. So this time around, we want to look at permutation involving letters of alphabets. Permutation involving letters of alphabets. Letters of alphabets. Example number 1. In how many ways can the word goal, G-O-A-L, be permuted? Then B, in how many ways can the word L be permuted? Then C, in how many ways can the word geology be permuted? Okay, now we are going to take the solutions to these questions. The first one, say the word L. So let's say our solutions, we have, okay, the first one is, in how many ways can the word goal be permuted? So we have goal. Now in this word goal, we have 4 letters. 1, 2, 3, 4. G-O-A-L. 4 letters. So the number of ways is equals to 4 factorial because they are just 4 letters. So it becomes 4 factorial. And 4 factorial means to multiply from 4 to 1. That is the meaning of 4 factorial. So 4 factorial is equal to, you multiply from 4 down to 1. So this is 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. This is the meaning of 4 factorial. So if we say I have 7 factorial, for instance, you say 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 until you multiply it to 1. So 4 times 3 is 12. 12 times 2 is 24. 24 times 1 is 24. So our answer becomes 24 ways. So the number of ways of permuting or arranging the word goal is 24 ways. So now let's go to B. We have L. we have L. Good. The number of ways, we have 4 letters here, which is 4 factorials. But 2 of the letters repeated 2 times. So we are going to divide by that, those letters that repeated. But in goal, no letter repeated. All the letters are just 1, 1. So that is why we did not divide. It's just 4. But the number of ways here, the number of ways is equal to, now in L we have 1, 2, 3, 4, which is 4 factorial. Then over, because L repeated 2 times, so it will be over 2 factorial. So you divide by anyone that repeated. But in gold, no letter repeated. So that is why it is just 4 factorial. But this one will be 4 factorial over what? 2 factorial. So if we have 4 factorial over 2 factorial, this is the same as we multiply from 4 to 1, we multiply from 2 to 1. So this is 4 times 4 factorial is 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 over 2 factorial is 2 times 1. So we can cancel 2 cancel 2, 1 cancel 1. So here is 4 times 3. So our answer becomes 12 ways. But the shorter way of solving this for those JAMB students, 4 factorial over 2 factorial, no need to multiply the smaller one. Just multiply the bigger one until you get to the smaller one, then cancel. For instance, 4 factorial over 2 factorial, you can just say 4 times 3 times 2 factorial over 2 factorial. So 2 factorial cancel 2 factorial, you have 4 times 3, which is 12. That is the other way of solving it. So let's look at question C. We have geology. We have geology. Good. The number of ways. Number of ways is equals to, first of all, we count the letters in geology. We count the letters. How many letters are in geology? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it gives us 7 factorial. Then we also check if any of the letters repeated. If any of them repeated. If you look at this, we'll find out that G repeated 2 times. So it will be over 2 factorial. Then O also repeated 2 times over 2 factorial. So it means G, 2G, which is the first 2 factorial. Then the other one is another 2 factorial. So what are we going to do? This is just 7 times 7 factorial, 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 over, this is 2 times 1 for the first 2 factorial times again 2 times 1. So we cancel. 2 cancel 2, 1 cancel 1, 2 cancel 4, which is 2. So we are left with 7 times 6 times 5 times 2 times 3. So if we multiply this, 7 times 6, 42, 42 times 42 times 5, 42 times 5, we have 210, 210 times 2, we have 420 times 3, we have 1260. So the answer becomes 1260 ways. So this is the number of ways of permuting geology, the word geology.